If you're intrigued by the mysteries of the unknown, you can investigate thousands on Discovery Plus. With exclusive originals and a scary big collection of favorites, Discovery Plus is the streaming home of paranormal classics like Ghost Adventures and Ghost Brothers, plus new originals like Amityville Horror House. Uncover hidden secrets and explore otherworldly realms for just $4.99. Discovery Plus is the streaming home of paranormal, plus so much more. Start your free trial.
This week at Macy's, find great summer style with big savings on head-to-toe looks. Like 40 to 50% off fresh outfits for him and her. The perfect sandals, sneakers, and more 40% off. And specials like bras and panties, $19.99 and under. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase, except gift cards, services, and fees. Sign up today at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello, and welcome to the Hoop Ball DFS Today podcast. I am your host, Mike Patra. It's Sunday. That means I'm with my good buddy Haaris and Mike. We're here to break down this wonderful June 27th slate for you guys. We got a nice little showdown action. We're going to touch on the two-day slate, talk a little bit about tomorrow. Not too much. We can't dive in there too much, Haaris, but we're going to give the people a little taste. But how are you doing, my friend? It's been a whole week. Actually, it's been two. I think it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, last week around had a couple of things as far as family is concerned, but glad to be back on it. It's nice. Weather keeps getting nicer. Had the aftermath of a nice thunderstorm, so you get that petrichor smell out there. I learned that word a couple of years back, and I love using it anytime I get a chance to. That earthy smell after the rain. But it's been nice. It's been really nice out here, so glad to get it on. And the playoffs just keep getting more and more interesting, except for that game yesterday. That was the worst thing I've seen, I swear. The last couple of weeks now. It's terrible game.
Could have been better. Definitely could have been better. That's awesome, man. And listen, when the weather's nice, we got to enjoy that. And we're starting to see that. I can't even speak. I'm saying I'm starting to see it here in Connecticut, but I'm going to go somewhere in a week where it's going to be 60 degrees hotter. But nonetheless, I'm enjoying it. I didn't get the thunderstorms. No thunderstorms down there. But check this. I had a little going away party. Everybody knows that, listen, Santino and I have known each other in real life for the better half of 20-something years now. And he came by, obviously at these going away parties, there's some, festivities, there's some beverages, adult beverages being consumed. And I always offer anybody that's, drinking, you're welcome to stay over. There's plenty of room. There's couches, there's blankets, air mat, whatever you need. So our good friend Santino stayed over last night. He listens to ambient thunderstorms using my Alexa to sleep. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, I always kind of heard about this, but just a loud, I wake up in the middle of the night, just loud thunderstorms. It sounds like I look out my window, I see nothing. It's so that he can fall asleep. That's what he does. But shout out Santino with his thunderstorms. I just like to throw a little shade at him whenever I get a chance. But we got some good stuff to jump into, man. We got some good stuff to jump into. So we're not gonna take too much time. So we'll just dive into it. Game on the docket: Milwaukee traveling to Atlanta. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time game for the Hawks. Bogdan Bogdanovic questionable. Brandon Goodwin out. DeAndre Hunter out for the Bucks. Or did I say for the Bucks? For the Hawks. For the Bucks, Dante DiVincenzo ruled out. Giannis Antetokounmpo is probable. So as we know, no real major news or injuries going on differently than we've seen for the past day or two. But actually, we got to go Cam Reddish on here as well. I'll pass it over to you. We're going to talk about this showdown slate. Kind of take me through your approach, I guess. And, that's really what it comes down to, these showdown slates, especially when we're talking about playoffs. We're getting the same teams every time. The price tags, they fluctuate a little bit here and there. But it's really about your approach and, I guess, how you're game scripting this specific game. So why don't you talk to me about that?
Yeah, and as much as I like having that sneaky captain pick to be able to fix out the rest of the utility guys to somehow make it fit under the budget, in this series especially, it's just one of those where you have to avoid being cute. Between Giannis, between Trey, they are the respective captains of both their ships, both in usage, both in production, and especially Trey at home, who's put up a 60 bomb in the last 2 games that he's played in that Philly series at home has just continuously been a show throughout this period. I'm pretty much leaning towards him as my captain with a little bit of Giannis to be able to kind of get the rest of it out there. But really, in my mind, the approach is like if I can find 1 to 2 guys that are viable in that kind of 3 to 4,000 and below, then I can have in my mind that, hey, I can get 3 guys on here that are going to be close to that 10K and above with that captain, of course. And usually I feel pretty good about those kind of lineups. So oftentimes in showdowns, kind of that mid-tier gets a little bit shrunk, at least as far as my lineups are concerned, and it kind of becomes a boom or bust kind of situation, especially in a 1 game. It's just all about finding that one cheap guy who happens to go off because it's going to be that one low ownership percentage that changes it up for you. Everyone's going to have the same lineup otherwise. So it's kind of my approach to things.
And yeah, listen, that's the approach I think most have, and you need to be able to differentiate in some ways. And it also depends on your tournament and your contest. And again, if you're entering a tournament or if you're entering cash, generally if I'm entering GPPs, which is what I usually do, I don't play too many showdowns. When I do, I just throw a couple into dart throws. I usually try to differentiate with an odder piece at my captain spot. So if I can afford Giannis, if I can afford Trae Young, that's the way I'm going. There's no question about it. You just have to feel confident and comfortable with the rest of your lineup. And the thing about these 2 teams are, they're both, I wouldn't say they're both too top heavy, but I would say generally there's, the Bucks, you'll see one bench guy that you're going to want, whether it's Connaughton or Bobby Portis that night or, one of those 2 guys. Those are usually the pivots that you want to look to get like some decent bench usage, decent bench points for DFS. Same thing with the Hawks. Generally it would be like a Danilo Gallinari. Cam Reddish is now back in the lineup, so he's one of those guys. But we pretty much know where the points are coming from with both these teams. And I want to try to get 4 studs, and the only way to do that is to probably go down a little bit at my captain spot. So, looking at this, I guess we'll start off with the Bucks, obviously. Drew Holiday coming off of an absolutely just dominant performance. Past 2 games, I mean, he's really just done on defense, and that's one thing that I was kind of, looking at with Trae Young. We've seen that big game come from him already, but that Drew Holiday defense is absolutely real. This dude is the best perimeter defender in the league. He's been known. I think Damian Lillard came out and said this numerous times. He's been top. I think Steph Curry came out and said this before. There's no secret. Whether you look at metric stats, whatever they tell you, don't believe them. I'm sure they're good anyway, but Drew Holiday is an absolute elite defender, so that's going to keep Trae Young from being in my captain spot. And to be honest, I don't think I'll have Trae Young in my captain spot for the remainder of the series. I just don't think that this is going to be the best series on paper. I feel like I've been doubting this guy left and right, and it's going to bite me eventually, and if it hasn't already. But I just want to kind of lean on these Bucks guys. I want to play Giannis. I want to get either a Drew Holiday or Middleton in my captain spot if I could. Brook Lopez has been, I think, it's just a staple piece that a lot of us have been going to. But I kind of want to get me some Bobby Portis in there as well. So looking at Bobby Portis as one of these value pieces, looking at a Connaughton as one of these value pieces, and then just trying my best to get at least 2 out of the 3 between Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday is pretty much the approach I'm going to do. And then obviously we're going to pair it with some Trae Young on the other side. But I'm getting ahead of myself, man. I'm talking way too much over here. I'm going a million miles an hour. You can tell the coffee has kicked in. So let me get some take from you between, I guess, Holiday, Middleton. Which one do you prefer?
If you're intrigued by the mysteries of the unknown, you can investigate thousands on Discovery Plus. With exclusive originals and a scary big collection of favorites, Discovery Plus is the streaming home of paranormal classics like Ghost Adventures and Ghost Brothers, plus new originals like Amityville Horror House. Uncover hidden secrets and explore otherworldly realms for just $4.99. Discovery Plus is the streaming home of paranormal, plus so much more. Start your free trial.
Move in with Frontier.
Hey, it's us. Your 10 o'clock video conference meeting?
Sorry, I was on mute.
We heard you were moving.
It's time to upgrade to Frontier.
With upload speeds as fast as download speeds, Frontier fiber optic internet is lightning fast.
And it's just $59.99 per month plus activation fee for 500 meg service. And the router's included.
So, let's talk next steps.
Make the switch.
Move in with Frontier. Go to getfrontier.com for complete offer details. Services subject to availability and all terms and conditions.
Yeah, and throughout the series, I've just found that, to me, Holiday's just going to be the piece, not only, as you said, the primary defender on Trae Young, and also, if there's a weakness on the Atlanta Hawks side, it's probably them trying to exploit as much Trae Young as possible. So you're finding that Holiday's just being kind of that primary initiator a lot more in this series than I'd say in the Brooklyn series, where they were trying to go more towards the Middleton side. So to me, between those two, I'm definitely leaning much more towards Holiday. But Middleton's Middleton. He's continued to be that guy who's not only going to be the closer for them as far as taking the tough shots. His shot volume is always going to be there. So his 3-point shooting has been a bit odd in this series. I mean, he's 2 for 14 so far. I'm sure that's going to normalize. But as far as Drew's concerned, you talk about riding the hot hand. This guy's shooting 59 from the field right now, 50% from three, which is not necessarily what you expect from a guy like Drew Holiday. But as far as he continues to do that, and as long as he can continue to pick on Trae Young defensively, I'm finding myself much more shifted towards that than I am towards Middleton this one.
I think you and I could probably pick on Trae Young defensively. We could get away with a couple buckets. You're absolutely right. I always touch on that if you guys listen. I think for the past year, he's been one of the worst statistical defenders since he's been in the league. The only person that has been worse than him was Isaiah Thomas. So there you go. That kind of tells you everything you need to know about Trae Young's defense and how porous it is. Now, looking at this Hawks side, Trae Young, we could talk ad nausea about him. I don't think any of our listeners need to know. He's a great play. He's going to be the top option. He'll probably be the top scoring option on this Hawks team. The only way that I can't see that happening is if Clint Capella grabs 25 rebounds. Outside of that, I fully expect Trae Young to be the highest scorer. Now, is he going to be the best return for a dollar standpoint? Maybe not in the captain spot, and that's my worry. If we get 30 to 40 DK points out of Trae Young, that's not doing it for us. That's not good in our captain. That's good. That's okay if we have that in our utility. You can even get away with that, avoiding him in your utility. And we saw in that last game, if you just didn't play Trae Young at all, you probably did okay. But nonetheless, he's very much in play. I'm going to keep attacking the front court, though. That's been my motto, and that's been my mantra with this Hawks team. There's two weaknesses with the Bucks. Centers can generally do pretty well against them, pretty porous rebounding wise, and then when we're looking at the 3-point line, Hawks are very vulnerable behind the 3-point line. That's kind of why you'll either see Trae Young have one of these monster games, one of these softer games. But I want to still attack with the front court. Looking at John Collins, looking at Clint Capella. I prefer Clint Capella over John Collins. Splitting hairs, but give me the guy that has the better defensive and rebounding upside. Just feel a little bit more secure there. I think he also has the higher ceiling as well. And then, like I said, if I'm looking at some of these ancillary guys, I might take a stab at Cam Reddish. I don't love the price tag at $5K utility. I kind of want him cheaper than that. He's only played one game, played 17 minutes in that last one since he returned. I maybe imagine that gets bumped up closer to the 20-minute mark. Okay, we're taking shots at some of these guys. We have to differentiate. We need to look at where their upside possibly is. I don't want guys that are just always playing minutes. Minutes equal money, that's sure. But Cam Reddish, he's going to be a viable ball handler for this team too. I imagine he's also one of their better perimeter defenders, so getting him as healthy or getting him as many minutes as they possibly could is going to be something they look to do. But again, we just can't bank on anything more than, I would say, 20 to 22 minutes max, with it only being his second game back. But I'll pass it over to you. I talked ad nausea about a lot of these Hawks guys. I probably touched on most people, but I want to get your thoughts on some of the guys I said.
Yeah, and I think the biggest wrinkle in all of this has kind of been Bogdanovic's knee. It's clear that at this point he's hobbled out there. They're trying. I mean, he's a warrior. He's playing through it. But, 18 minutes in the last game, 27 in the one before that. I honestly don't see his body being able to take a 30-minute kind of load, which is why kind of as like a contrarian play, I'm finding myself with a number of Lou Williams in my different lineups there. I mean, at 1,800, as long as he's getting even honestly into the high teens, which I think he'll get closer to, that's probably a spot where just a shot buffet may make him a potentially viable option. I agree with you on Cam Reddish. I'd like him there, but 5,000 is a bit high for what I like. But having seen him in the last game, he looked pretty good considering he was 4 months off, didn't look at all rusty as far as his conditioning was concerned. So he could very well see himself in more minutes. And I'm kind of keeping a close eye because I have a feeling, like this inkling, that Bogdan might actually go ahead and sit out this game because it just didn't look right at all. I think the Hawks, having taken back home advantage, could maybe look to try and play it safe and play the long game here, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
All right. Well, that's it for the showdown, guys. I think that's what we got for you. Some tidbits. It looks like we're both going to be trying to differentiate one way, shape, or form, and we're riding the chalk as far as play the studs. When you have two of the best guys, the highest usage and highest upside in the league, you play them. There's no secret beyond that. But let's talk about some of this. I guess this is where we could get a little secretive and differentiate, and we'll touch on it quickly. It's going to be the two-part slate, so it is 2 games starting today, 8:30. It's going to be that Hawks and Bucks game, and then it will carry over into tomorrow, Monday slate for the Clippers and Suns. This game will be taking place in Phoenix. They're traveling 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. Of course, we're not going to have everything as far as injury reports and Game lines and spreads as of right now, it's a 218 game total. Suns favored by 5.5. We didn't even give the first one prior. 225 game total. Bucks favored by 4.5 in that one. But obviously, this one a little bit more of a defensive matchup, I guess we could say, than that first one with those high up-tempo teams. So I touch on it. Anytime you're playing these two-game slates, I'm probably going to lean a little bit more Atlanta and Milwaukee. There's just going to be little, I wouldn't say little to no defense played, but two of the faster teams in terms of pace. So a lot more shot attempts, a lot more rebounds, a lot more opportunities for everybody else in that game. Also talking a 7-point difference in game total. So let's touch on it, man. We'll talk about this Clippers team to start. I'll pass it over to you. Why don't you just give me some of the immediate things that pop off the page for you, some immediate things that you've been noticing in this series, and I guess what we could talk about with it being a day before. Obviously, things are subject to change, but we'll do our best.
Yeah, of course. And I think the biggest thing that's popped off, at least as far as the Clippers are concerned, is just purely the amount of minutes that Ivica Zubac is getting. He played the highest minutes total that he's done in his entire NBA career yesterday in that 40-minute game. And really, as you said, it's been much more of a defensive, I wouldn't even necessarily say it's been a defensive clinic as much as just been an offensive, just garbage barn burner show. It's just been terrible as far as that's concerned. The efficiency is out there, but what that means is that reboundings are up to grab in a consistent basis. And Zubac has picked up 14 in the last game, 16 in the game before that. He's kind of become almost my favorite guy to be able to go to. His price tag at 4,900 is still at a great spot to be able to go ahead and take advantage of that. And it's kind of come at the expense of a Nicholas Batum, who is consistently playing 30 to 40 minutes in the previous series, but is now down to like 15, 16 in this one. So it's clear matchups play a huge role as far as this entire series is concerned. And for the Clippers, who are literally sitting at the brink now at that 3-1 deficit, going to be at home trying to do everything they can in order to extend the series. We know Kawhi Leonard is still being judged on a game-by-game basis right now. So, who knows? Are they going to try and push him out there, try to see if he can somehow come back and maybe extend the series? I don't know. We'll find out as that happens. But until then, Paul George, Reggie Jackson, those guys continue to be the two top main offensive options for the squad. Paul George, even on a bad shooting night, still puts up 55 FDP. As far as Reggie Jackson's concerned, at 6,100, he's about good value as well. So it's kind of, where the offense is going to come from as far as the Clippers are concerned. And really, that's what it comes down to. Can their offense somehow be good enough to handle the fact that Phoenix themselves has been pretty down as far as their shot making is concerned, and it's been a series for the bigs. DeAndre Ayton on the other side as well, who goes ahead and just puts up absolutely monstrous numbers, has really continued to establish himself as one of the better big men in the league. And it was almost a funny shot. Forgot who said it, that Ayton's been the best big man they've faced so far into the entire playoffs, obviously taking a shot at some of the other ones they've gone at so far. But it's been fun. It's been fun, and it's been a nice change of pace that the big men are getting far more involved in the series.
Yeah, and I think that's actually, I think we might have been on the show together. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it couldn't have been us. I think we touched on it, though, on one of our shows, that when they were coming into the series, you're right, it's a completely different series. We were seeing the Clippers do that small ball lineup and get away with that and actually thrive with it going against Gobert. And it's simply because they are not worried about Gobert dropping 20 actual points on them. They'll take whatever, little putbacks and dunks that Rudy Gobert was getting and just burn them on the other end. Now it's a little different. You have a guy like DeAndre Ayton who is fully comfortable taking 20-plus shot attempts. And Zubac, we're seeing it. He has to play these minutes. They can't do the small ball. They'd get crushed on the inside by Ayton. They're getting crushed on the inside regardless, but they need the size out there. I'm with you. I'm going to continue rolling Zubac. It's just the chalk play. You take that free square and you just eat it. Don't try to get cute with it. I don't care if you're trying to differentiate it. Pick a different spot to differentiate. You don't do it with this one. You eat the chalk. In my opinion, you play both centers on this two-game slate. You play Ayton and you play Zubac, and then you make it work with your other pieces. I just think that these guys are both way too underpriced for their roles, for their minutes, for everything else. Their point per minute upside, both of them are over 1.2 DK points per minute in this series. So, sign me up. I'm good with that. I want it all day. Actually, Zubac is not, but Ayton is. So that's probably it for me as far as getting too cute. I kind of want to see what else is going on as far as strategy. I do prefer Paul George as the most expensive guy out of this game. That's the guy I'd rather play. I'd rather play Paul George over Chris Paul and Devin Booker. And then looking at some of these ancillary options, I would rather play Reggie Jackson over Chris Paul and Devin Booker. right now on a point per dollar standpoint. So that's my approach. I have 2 initial builds going right now. One of them has Paul George. One of them has Reggie Jackson. The one that has Reggie Jackson allows me to spend up a little bit more in another spot, and I could look over and try to get another one of those guys from that Bucks game, whether it is Drew Holiday or Chris Middleton. I could pair him with my Giannis, double up over there. That's kind of how my game script is going. I actually think that the Clippers are going to take this one, make it a 3-2 series. I'm expecting the Bucks to win pretty handily, and that's really how my lineups work in playoffs, is that you have to game script them pretty tough. Be ready to take one off the chin. Be able to adjust is important, but there's going to be a lot less adjustments here. So we kind of know what these rotations and everything look like. It's just you have to play coach. You have to try to decide how these coaches are going to adjust game by game, and that's the biggest thing with DFS in the playoffs. So anything else you want to touch on, I guess, with these 2 teams? I mean, we didn't really talk about too much with the Suns. I gave my little take on it. If I had to play anybody, it's going to continue to be just DeAndre Ayton. And then I like Cam Johnson as a value play. He's been a guy that I've just been loading up on for value. Never going to light the world on fire or anything like that for you. But the definition of just a rock-solid guy at 4,200 who is playing a decent to consistent role anywhere between the 17 to 24-minute range, I'd say, on average. And when the shot's falling for him, you're looking at about 20 DK points.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Cam Johnson has been one of my favorite plays just in general. I mean, I like the guy as a player in general. I feel like he should be getting more minutes in this league, and I think Phoenix is finally starting to figure out rotations in which they can get him in, kind of swapping in that 3-4, have him float around there and get more in there because, yeah, he's probably, in terms of like a catch and shoot 3-point shooter for them, outside of Jay Crowder, I'd say he's their most consistent guy out there. So it's nice to have him be viable once again as far as DFS is concerned.
Absolutely. Who doesn't like some Cam Johnson? Who doesn't? But that's it. That's all we got for you guys. Thank you for listening. As always, from everybody over here at Hoopball, go give us a follow. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. And give Haaris a follow. If you guys haven't already, you're missing the boat. Haaris is an absolute stud. Listen, when you run the DFS team, you could cherry pick who you do the podcast with. There's a reason I wanted you, Haaris. You're a good guy. You're a stud. I love doing these shows with you, man. And I know that we're going to be able to put out some great content with the duo that we have right now on our Sundays. But Haaris, let the good people know where they can give you a follow. That way they can get at you. They can reach you, even when you don't want to be reached.
I appreciate the shout out. And you can get me on Twitter at HAK_devil, hack devil on there. And I know we spoke about it last time too. You can hit me up on some Xbox as well with that, because that's the same gamer tag I have to be able to do that. But anytime you have any questions, definitely send me out a DM, a tweet. I'm pretty quick in being able to respond to that. And I'm ready to enjoy some more playoff basketball.
All right. And you can give me a follow at Mike Apatra, MikeApotria. You won't see me being very active on there as of late. Probably won't see me very active down there. But hey, listen, if you have a question that I can get to, I'll do my best. I'll probably get to it an hour and a half too late, but I will do my best. And it's brutal honesty, man. You know what I mean? You got to just keep it honest sometimes. I'm not around my computer or phone. I've been one of those guys, I would say, for the better half of a year here. I've been trying to just disconnect from the cell phone as much as possible. So when I have friends or family over, if me and the girlfriend are watching a movie or something, I try to put it on silent. I try not to look at it. And then I try to get to everything at once and just, disconnect a little bit. I think a lot of people get glued to their phones too much, and us being us and being sports guys and in this industry, we're probably guilty of it more than most. So we'll see how long it lasts. We'll see how long it lasts.
I'm 100% guilty of that. I try to set with a silent mode on notifications at times or do not disturb hours. But, man, there's just too much news coming out too fast, and you just have to stay on top of it all. Way too much.
Someone's got to. We're the martyrs, man. We got to take the bullet for everybody else. So you guys sit there and enjoy the time with our family. We get yelled at by our significant others while we're just sitting there looking to see how many minutes Cam Johnson might play tonight. We'll handle that. We'll take it. We'll take the punch of off the chin. But thank you guys again for everything. We'll be back tonight. It'll be me. It will be Sam. We're gonna crush this Monday slate for you guys. Touch on a lot of this. We'll talk about how this game ended tonight, and I guess what we can expect from tomorrow's. But again, let's go out there. Let's crush some GPPs. Let's take down some money, and let's enjoy some playoff basketball. Take care, everybody.
Get 30% shorter average wait time. When you buy and book your appointment at discounttire.com, you can get 30% shorter average wait time in the store. Discount Tire. Let's get you taken care of.
Meyer brand snacks promise the great value you expect with a quality guarantee in every bite. And summertime snacking is our most favorite snacking season of all because Meyer brand makes it deliciously easy. From new lemonade flavors to classic ingredients for backyard s'mores to creamy ice cream varieties like new limited edition Purple Cow by Meyer Very Berry Americana with ribbons of real strawberry and blueberry swirls waving in creamy vanilla ice cream. Stop into Meyer and discover big taste and bigger savings on Meyer brand summertime snacks.